Today we're going to be discussing Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by Steven Spielberg. 3 camera moves, and how they add tension, where you're looking at in the shot, and how they move you from one place to the other. And it's all done artfully well by Spielberg. He goes beyond the normal way. It's almost like he's Picasso, where everyone is painting realistic things and they use these lines in the same way, but Spielberg uses them a little bit differently. Now, the first sequence of the movie is Indiana Jones grabbing this idol from this cave area. And as he approaches it, he stands up. This is the shot. He stands up to the idol, and then we start to dolly in on him. The audience at this point doesn't know there is one more booby trap at the end of this sequence, and that is the weight being lifted off of the pedestal. And so the camera dollies in, and that is the subtle hint to the audience. That is telling the audience that there's still something to be tense about. There's still tension here. There's still something to be worried about. There is still danger. And so it slows to a dolly in, and then it stops. And like in dolly in shots, there's usually something that happens at the end of the stopping of the dolly move. It's usually the punctuation, the period. And it's right now it is Harrison Ford rubbing his chin. And we can tell by this, it's not that the tension has been resolved, because the whole dolly in is tension, but now it's also, the end point is he's tense, he's nervous. And so that is the end of that shot. But what's great about this is it's working with this other shot that's right behind, dollying in on him when we cut to him. And so the tension continues. And it's kind of like there's a couple ways to up tension. One is to make things go for a very long time, have the tension drag on and get higher and higher, and the stakes get higher and higher. The other way is to have a arc, get to that point, like the dolly in on the idol with Harrison Ford, and then stops. That's the peak. And then what happens is you've kind of released some of that tension, but then it goes even higher because it starts again, and then there's another camera move right behind it. And so that's what this shot does. And what's great about this is it's not the most tense part of this, him grabbing the idol. It's just the lead up. Dolly in still moving, so the tension hasn't gone nowhere. It still exists in the music, but it still exists in the moment of the scene, but not in a camera moves way. And then what happens is, you would guess, the tension erupts. It doesn't erupt in any camera move. It doesn't erupt necessarily in music only. It erupts, the whole location erupts, and the big boulder comes down the scene. And so it's production design that takes over from there. Now the next shot we're going over, the second shot, nearly takes up the entire scene. How did Spielberg do this? How did he hide this from us? How did he keep us engaged? We're gonna go over that. And they're kind of far away from camera. And as they come in, we pan over to them, we follow them into the room, and they're kind of mid-close in the room. So not only have we panned and the camera moved, but they've changed the way, the space that they're away from the camera. And that's what they're gonna do throughout the entire shot. They're gonna be moving around, and what's great about that is it feels like a completely different shot. And then what happens is they move over to the right, and then Indiana Jones gets super close to the camera. As with his briefcase, and then he leaves the way and comes back super close, and he's facing us. Why does he face us for this moment? It's important. He faces us because there's an emotional moment about Marion.
So she'll still be with him?
Possibly. Marion's the least of your worries right now, believe me, Indy.
And we need to see that and see on his face and see him slow down to a stop. He's been moving around things, packing a little bit, and now he's stopping it to a slow. And then what happens is, then a real camera move happens, a classic camera move. We dolly in to Brody, and when we dolly into him, we dolly in on, and the tension, the dolly starts on a tension, because the dollies can create intensity or a tension, and the tension is these other mysteries that we don't know about the Ark of the Covenant, the magic behind it. We don't know its power, we don't know what it can do. And what happens is the music shows there's more tension too. It doesn't do it immediately in on the Dolly in. It does it mid Dolly in to escalate that Dolly in even further, even more, up it even more.
Well, I mean that for nearly 3,000 years, man has been searching for the Lost Ark. Not something to be taken lightly. No one knows its secrets. It's like nothing you've ever gone after before.
Indiana Jones brushes off this worry and this mysticism. And this is Indiana Jones's character arc of the movie. He believes in the mysticism in the future. That's what saves him when the Ark of the Covenant is opened up. And then what happens is he grabs something wrapped in a cloth. And as he grabs it, he brings it closer to us. We don't know what it is, and it's important. They wrapped it in a cloth for a reason, because this reveal is exciting and different, and we know that there's danger coming ahead. And he opens up the cloth, and it's a gun. And only then, throughout this whole scene, do we cut to the close-up of the gun. So this whole thing is showing us that this moment is dangerous. This movie is going to be dangerous, and we need a gun to fight in it. Now, the last camera move that we're going to go over is all about introducing Marion. This woman, this strong woman who's Indiana Jones's love interest. And we open in on the shot being wide. There's a wide of the room, and so it being a wide, the director has to use production design and blocking to direct our attention. And so what he's done is Spielberg is to set up the scene, and everyone's focusing in on this negative space, the open, empty table. And everyone's looking down at this table. Everyone wearing gray and dark green colors. Our eyes naturally go into Marion, crane down. There were these people blocking her companion that she's sitting across before, and now we're going around them, so we couldn't focus on him before. We probably should have been if that was open up, but that's not the reason why. That's not the purpose of it. So we go around him, we go around those people, and we see him right there, and he starts to drink, and the drinking game continues. And then what we do is it's a slow and methodical follow of the glasses. Shows the small, slow, methodical effort that they're putting into this drinking game. And she's having a hard time drinking, and we don't cut. Normally you might cut here because there are other things that we need to see and notice and understand. But what Spielberg has set up blocking here so that you don't need to cut. There's this woman right behind Marion. She's darker in color, but she's facing us more. So she's facing us directly while Marion's looking at us from the side. Crowd is represented by her. She shows us the crowd's emotion and feeling right there. And so we've got that established. And then when everyone counts her out and thinks she's lost, she's passed out, and she's gonna lose, money flies in from the sides. And blocks our view in the front. It's very interesting to watch. We cut to a wider shot of the moment, and we dolly in on her celebrating. And that is what Dollyans tend to do, is they tend to emphasize the emotion of the moment. And that is the last shot of this episode. Well, guys, I want to say thanks for watching. Dolly into Meaning dives into how things work in movies, why a director does what he does, and how it makes you think and feel what you do when you're watching a movie. So I want you to like, subscribe, hit notifications. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.